Red.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Redacted Party Chat, wherever and whenever you are. I'm going to be your host for tonight with a fully charged phone. Adrian, joining me as usual are my two beautiful co-hosts, Vaughn
Greetings.
and Brandyn.
Howdy.
How are you two fine gentlemen doing today?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Not too shabby. Surviving.
Yeah, surviving is exclamation point. I came home and crashed, dude. It was completely over with. I sent you guys that text and done for.
Oh, dude, that's how it was yesterday. Came home, took a straight anger power nap, just ate shit, just couldn't.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I feel it.
So, well, let's go ahead and get stuff cracking because I'm excited to talk about these topics. We'll just start with Vaughn. What have you been playing?
My gaming has been very uneventful since Battlefield, which took a lot of my soul from me. I started back on my New Game Plus of Silent Hill F. Haven't gotten too far into that, but then immediately went back to Katamari to chill my soul and my mind. So I've been playing most of that this week. It's good. It's a nice turn my brain off, roll any and everything in my path, and move on to the next one. Next, well, I should have the platinum in that by next episode, I think. And then I think I'm going to start my Super Robot Wars playthrough so I can get ready for that DLC next week. But
I have a strong feeling you're the reason why my like when you go into like the PlayStation store, it's like what friends have been playing, and there's some shit in there where I'm like, there's got to be Vaughn. There's like a bear fucking picnic simulator thing. I was like, I don't know if that's Vaughn, but it seems like some shit that he would just be like, fuck it, I can knock this one out real quick. So I was going through there. I was like, there's some weird shit on here, and I got weird friends, but I'm like, is this weird friends or is this just Vaughn being unable to stop himself from consuming?
I check all those boxes, so it was probably me. Sometimes I just need the dumb like 2D side scroller platinum to cleanse the palate and then move on to the hardcore stuff. So it more than likely was me.
Dude, I might be getting Katamari. Mia was watching the podcast and she was like, I think I like that game Vaughn was playing. It looked very satisfying. I'm like, that's pretty much why he's playing it, is to stay sane for a little bit.
Yeah, that series has been around since the PS2, so it's not a new concept. They just kind of reiterate it each time. Add some new features, new music, new locations, but it's pretty simple. It's not doing anything crazy mechanically. It's just a long-running series. You should probably like it.
Yeah.
That's it for me, really. Pretty boring.
Brandyn?
Yeah, after my postpartum platinum, or platinum postpartum, I should say, I was bouncing all around, and then I finally kind of settled in on one game to be kind of my main game, and that's Weird West. I love that game. It's so good, dude. You should
Weird West or Evil West?
Or Hard West or Blood West. That's the real question. All I know is it's something West. No, it's Weird West, the Wolf Eye Studio game. So that's the former devs from Arcane, the people that make Dishonored and whatnot. So it's like that immersive sim, Prey kind of vibe. And kind of a... Vaughn, would you call that open world?
Yeah, it's an isometric open world RPG.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Very cool. We'll have some gameplay up of it or up on it later. I just adore that game. The style's sick. I love westerns. Love me some good old vampire stuff and witches and all that good stuff.
And that's the one, if I'm not mistaken, like things you do in like certain, because it's like different characters, right? And then like
yeah, yeah,
things you do in their playthrough with them
yes.
will affect the world as a whole. That's I always love mechanics like that. Like even dating all the way back to like the Resident Evil 2 and stuff like that, where you would do different runs and
hmm
when different stuff would happen within the story, which obviously is on a much smaller scale. But I love seeing any kind of implementation like that.
I think that's what makes that game so cool, man, is because it is this open world nature. So, light spoilers. And it won't even be spoilers. There's a core character who is one of the big bad guys throughout the story, but you don't find that out until a little bit later. But going through on this playthrough, I know he's the bad guy. There's nothing really stopping me from sneaking in and blowing his brains out. And then he's just eliminated from the story completely. Not even a presence anymore. Like everybody can die, good guys, bad guys, anything. So it's so flexible, man. Weird West is awesome. Very awesome. Outside of that, I've been playing a little bit on the Portal, man. They did that update for the streaming.
Yep.
My Portal just like works now. It I don't know why. I literally like I if I wasn't downstairs right by the modem, that thing just would not work. That update hit, I'll be up here editing and just have the Portal on the side playing Batman or whatever, and it just works now. I don't know why. It's awesome. It's actually working really good. Played a little bit of Silent Hill 2 with Vaughn. Not the vibe I was expecting. It's so weird. It's scary, but it's also good.
Original remake.
The remake of 2 that just came out a couple years ago or a year ago, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Were
how do I
you
explain it?
expecting something scarier right away?
I guess how do I explain this? Not necessarily. So there's like Dead Space horror where it's just like a violin screeching the whole time, and you're like
Constant oppressive horror.
constant oppressive. Whereas that game opened up with some like beautiful music.
Very somber.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like it's somber, but at the same time, it's like I think you said in the video, like when you're cooking, you'll put that music on. It kind of reminded me of like Resident Evil save room music, where you're just like, this is scary, but there's a like a hominess to it in a weird way. And it not to say it wasn't scary, it was scary for sure. Those
Right.
things are horrible. They're zipper flesh monsters with high heel feet. It's terrible. Um, but then there's like just little things of, I guess so far I'm really digging the performances. They're acted really well. It's feels very natural, very normal. They're awkward in believable ways, and just little ticks. Like he's like going like this to his hand, and the skin is actually like pushing and stuff. It's just like cool little details. But definitely excited to get back into that. I feel like I was playing something else.
Did you come to a final realization of Stubbs?
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm going back and forth on it. I need to complete it. So I was real high on it when it started, and then about 3, 4 levels later, I'm like, I don't think I like this at all.
That game's not particularly long, is it?
No, now there's a trophy for like beat it in 2 hours or something like that. However, I'm trying not to be so hard on it again because when the trophies pop, there's a self awareness to it. Like the platinum is called demand a sequel. Like there seems to be they're aware. Like, hey, we know that this is bare bones because the concept there is really great. It just needs fleshed out. That's really all it is. It's just so run around, eat everybody in the level, continue on. And I'm not saying it needs to be something crazy, but like Destroy All Humans, for example, would have, you know, UFO. You do a mission in the UFO where you go up and it's like destroy the city as fast as you can, get 3-star rankings. Just little stuff like that, or try to pick up a person and throw them across the map and hit the TV projector or whatever it is. It just needs to be fleshed out a little more. I don't want to be so harsh on it because it's old, but
I was just gonna say, do you think that is due to genuine? I guess you are comparing it to games of the time, but I mean that is like a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, it's 2005, which is I think the same year Destroy All Humans came out, and I guess the long and short is I can see why Destroy All Humans got a sequel and this game didn't. Is the best way I can put it. But it is weird because I didn't look into it yet, but I'm wondering if there is similar development or if it's like the same team almost, because there's something in the way that the characters are animated and voice acted that it's so similar to the original Destroy All Humans. Like, go ahead.
I was gonna say you also got to keep in mind that it's of the time. Well, imitation was always around. It was always a thing. So it's like you got to keep that in mind. And also, it's like there was pretty substantial limitations compared to what we have now on like motion capture and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you'll see a lot of almost, if not completely reused cinematics. In terms of just animations, they'll be very similar. Just because, like, to be honest, a lot of that stuff for the time was like fucking top notch. So,
yeah,
and publishers that own multiple companies like that would share information with each other, kind of how Sony does now with their core first party studios.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't know how Destroy All Humans 1 is like ingrained in my soul. I know that game inside and out. But the very beginning when you're on the farm and he's like, Martha, get me the shotgun. That line specifically and the way he looks is like exactly how all of the characters in Stubbs look and sound and everything. I'm like, I can't help but be charmed by that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it. I'll probably try to platinum it just because it's like 2 hours long, 3 hours long, or whatever. And then I did just download Where Winds Meet. I don't know if you guys have seen anything on this.
Oh, that free to play one,
dude. Okay, I was just watching Christian play it like before I passed out earlier. It's a free to play, completely free to play, full blown open world, Elden Ring-esque, Sekiro-esque Assassin's Creed game. Dude, I was watching him do these fights. It kind of has a little bit of Liza P in there as well. Very, very high quality. Little Final Fantasy in there. Like, it's very intriguing. I had to download it. I'm like, okay, I don't understand how this works. Like, how do you have something this large and high quality that isn't a multiplayer game that is free to play? I know that they were saying all of the microtransactions are strictly cosmetic, but it's just like, I don't.
Well, look at shit.
Very interesting. Very unique.
Genshin Impact. Shit like that. Like, yeah, it's a gacha game, so it's like its monetization is a little more robust because you're trying to, you're randomly getting characters and stuff like that. So people are willing to pay more money to get a chance at getting another character. But I mean, there is some pretty substantially sized games that are free to play that just run off microtransactions that have dropped within recent years, and that could be availability of development software being easier just to kind of produce larger scale games like that, or it could be, I'm not sure who made it, but a lot of like Korean and Chinese studios have kind of just been revealing that a lot of the game industry might possibly just be full of shit with the numbers. In terms of cost and stuff like that, where they're like, yeah, of course this game is this expensive, and of course we need this because, well, look at the scale of it, and it's there's and I've seen a lot of this happening where it's like, I think you guys might be full of shit. I was saying you were full of shit to begin with, but now that we have other people doing the thing that you're doing with substantially less cost investment and substantially less predatory microtransactions and consumer practices, it makes me think that you guys are just completely full of shit from the start, and you were banking on nobody spilling the beans.
I'm not sure about certain Asian countries, but I know other countries actually appreciate art and will give devs money to create. So
they actually appreciate art.
Oh no, it's one of those.
I think it's a China Hero program game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a Chinese game.
Yeah, because there's I forget the name of that super shitty game that came out. Poke myself
Dark
in
Souls
the
2.
top. No, that game. That game definitely came out. Definitely came out.
Bethesda.
Is this what we're doing today, huh? We're fucking.
Well, real quick, yeah. Let me finish.
Bad vibes.
Let me finish what I'm playing, and then because a lot of that stuff is actually going to be tied into the topics that we have.
All right.
And then the last thing, you specifically, Adrian, I think should check this game out. Nate got me hip to it a couple years ago, but it is extremely deep. It is one of those. But have you ever heard of Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord?
Yeah.
Dude. So they're releasing like a Viking update, I think in a week. Dude, it looks incredible. And I was watching videos on it today, so I went and downloaded it. I didn't realize that how deep and expansive that game is. Like, if you want to be a soldier on the front lines, you can. If you want to be an archer in the back, you can. If you want to be literally just the general in the back directing combat, you can. If you want to, whatever the case is, dude, you can literally you can play the whole game as like an oligarch and just be the guy who's up in, pulling the strings with trade routes and whatnot and controlling everything. It's like, so you have a game like Age of Empires mixed in with a game like Chivalry, let's just say, because you can just be the guy on, doing fights with a little bit of I hate to always bring up Shadow War, but it's the only large scale war game there is where you're, just got numbers on screen fighting.
Thing like Total War.
Yeah, Total War. Yeah, stuff like that. I want to actually take the time to learn that game because in a lot of ways it's like, man, this is the game I've always wanted. In so many ways, I wish I could play it on PC and get them Lord of the Rings mods, but that's neither here nor there. But
yeah, I don't know how that thing will fare. That laptop will fare with that, but you can give it a go. Drop the graphical settings. See if
that's not a bad idea, actually. Dude, I should totally get Battle for Middle Earth. All right. What have you?
Don't break my laptop.
No coffee nearby. My mom's long away. What about you? What you been playing?
So mine, I'm kind of on the same boat as Vaughn. I've kind of just been, just dabbling here and there. Obviously, we played Dead Space the other day. That game is I'm finally right at the end of us playing or me playing and you guys spectating my fucking horror. I feel like I just hit my Isaac stride, and so I feel like the rest of this playthrough is about to start getting funky because I don't know, literally it just clicked with me. It's like I'd finally kind of hit the
rhythm.
flow, the rhythm of it, and it's like it's gonna start getting real fucking doom in that bitch here shortly.
I did the exact same thing when Vaughn was watching me because I think, man, Vaughn, I think you watched me from the beginning, ain't it? You were watching me for a while when I played.
I think you'd already started, I think, the first chapter. So
okay,
yeah.
So you're almost caught up to where I'm at, and I was doing the same thing where I was hitting just the cadence where it's like Dead Space is so fun. It's so good.
Which obviously the game still got, and the remake has done enough where I totally am. I'm sure it'll scare the fuck out of me at some point. But it is hitting that point where it's like I'm starting to feel the fun of the game as opposed to the fear, which happens in any horror game for the most part that I play. It's like you start off and you're like, I'm not trying to get, but you don't feel like super overpowered. And that's one thing I think I noticed in the remake. Maybe it's because I haven't put any points into health yet because I've just been buffing the shit out of my plasma cutter. But I feel like you do take because I'm playing on just normal. It's like I feel like you're taking a lot more damage.
You're on easy?
No. I play on normal, the way it's intended to be played.
That's what I said. Easy?
No, smart. I don't make myself fucking miserable playing the game.
Got to play on Zealot out the gate.
No, you play on Zealot pretty much never unless there's a trophy involved, because that's just not fun.
No,
so
that's been hard.
So yeah, no, we obviously did that, enjoying that. Slay the Spire. I think I'm gonna have to take a break just because I've had no successful runs with the character I've been using, and it's fucking like it's making me like genuinely mad. I'm like, don't need this right now. I'm gonna put this away. And I decided I would just give it a shot because I'm not really a big. Not that I have anything against JRPGs, but Unicorn Overlord was a game that I just saw on the you can play it on the catalog, and it seemed like it had a lot of things going for it that I think would be right up my alley. So looks like there's a good bit of strategy in there, and the artwork is phenomenal. I'm always surprised. I think that is one of those games, kind of like we discussed before, where it's like I think that game would consider that like a B tier game. I wouldn't consider that a indie. I don't know. I mean, I'm not hip to the scene, so maybe that shit was a AAA release at some point. Not that I would.
This game looks beautiful.
Vanillaware is traditionally a B tier release. They did Dragon's Crown back in the day. They did a couple other PS2 based ones. They did a remake. I can't think of the name of the game that they remade, but their art is top
notch. And I'm always pleasantly surprised to see games like that have really good voice acting. And as of right now, the voice acting is really good. And it just full voice acted, because a lot of those games, they just do like the text scroll at the bottom, and then they'll put some expressions on the characters and animations. So it's always nice. I love voice acting. I think I haven't looked up the names, but that's always something. I haven't heard any voices yet that I would say I distinctly can identify. And obviously that being part of the art form, it's always exciting just to see essentially some voice actors with some pretty solid chops coming out there and adding that extra bit of life to the game. It's hard with any game. It's hard to convey that feeling because I just really started. I just got through the tutorial, and now I'm really getting into things proper. But it's hard to convey the sense of like despair or fucking evil. And it's like, oh man, he's supposed to be super imposing, but it's just like beep 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 beep. I will destroy you all, beep 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 beep, like across the bottom of the screen. But hearing someone actually say it with that, that bravado, it's like, oh shit, this guy might actually be dangerous. So I have to keep my eye out for him instead of just being bad guy, generic bad guy, whatever. So no, that was a pleasant surprise. I'm worried it'll send me down like a JRPG rabbit hole because it has been like a genre, not that I've avoided, but I'm like, I know every single one of these games is like 70 to 80 hours worth of gameplay, and I don't know if I have the time for that. But
that one's pretty good about not wasting your time. You can probably finish that in 30 to 40 hours, because once you start getting to go and unlocking people and unlocking new units, you can craft your own brigade and put gear on them, level that gear up, level people up the more you use them. Their position on the battlefield changes the way the battle unfolds, so I think you're going to enjoy the way that unfolds.
Yeah, I just can't wait to find a way to break it immediately.
Yeah, it's also because I feel you on the you look at a game and it's like, oh man, this game is huge. Because I remember earlier, I think maybe we were just in the party together, but you were talking about you wanted to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's funny because I was looking at that, I was eyeing that one up, and then I saw Unicorn Overlord, and I was like, let me try.
Yeah, I think because I totally understand the feeling. I think if you just kind of power through that first hour or two and get in the rhythm, the feeling kind of goes away to where it's
right.
Like,
you're just in the game. You're just
playing. It's like then it's like because it's the same amount of time you're going to play 50 runs in Dead Cells. You know, it's
Right,
like the
and
time is the same thing.
and that's kind of what I've been getting into. Like you said, I've been getting back into the playing mode, and that's kind of what I've just been throwing in the game and not thinking about it. But on the flip side, I was thinking about it's like, dude, how many times am I going to play Brotato? How many times am I going to fucking play Slay the Spire for fucking 4 hours straight and make no progress? And I could have been, doing something else, which I do. I still love those games, but it's like, it's killing me internally to just be beating my head up against that wall. So yeah, no, just trying out some new stuff, at least one new thing, and then we'll just see where that takes me.
That's a
Down
good one.
that
I've never
road.
heard of that.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
God.
Oh no, I'm just excited to really get into it. I'll probably play it, right when we're done. Probably hop back on it. I was playing it while I was getting ready. It's really cool. So, yeah, but that's really it for me. Obviously, there's only so much time, so I feel like fitting in 3 separate titles, period, is an achievement in itself. So waiting for that trophy to pop. Real gamer. But yeah, that's it for me. So, gentlemen, we will get off to the races here if you're ready. So, go ahead, Vaughn.
I was going to say, real quick, if you want to check out the socials on the screen, follow us, enjoy. We have a link tree type thing now, so if you want it all in one, just check the description. It'll be down there, and it'll be all in one place for you. So I will periodically throw this up so you guys can see it. Please follow. We love you.
Yeah. That link tree is incredible.
Yeah, we're getting
it's so clean and simple.
Oh yeah, it just gets everything concise. I know everybody's gonna probably notice right off the bat the OnlyFans isn't up yet. Just wait. It'll be there. And no, it's not anything dirty. That site is for things other than that, you perverts. I have a woodworking course.
Okay. Show you how to platinum games.
Buttholes are natural, so.
Buttholes are natural. It's not dirty, it's nature. Oh, God.
What are trophies?
What are trophies? They're nothing. It's a concept of Vaughn.
If I ever say that, you know it's not me.
Yeah, that's a lizard person. 100%.
Horizontal blink. Yeah. Oh, wait. Vertical blink.
Vertical and horizontal.
Right?
I guess technically, if you're blinking horizontally, it's coming from the sides, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got to be a double, so it goes horizontal and then vertical.
Oh yeah, the membrane.
Make sure you keep all that debris out of your moist amphibious eyes.
Use my tongue, wipe my eye.
Oh god! Just real quick.
I don't even care about platinums. Like that's not fun. Not because of the eyeball thing. Definitely the platinum statement he had.
How do you get the shotgun? Oh fuck! All right. If we're ready, we're ready. Let's do this thing. All right. So, topic number 1: in what ways do narrative-driven games compare to traditional storytelling methods in literature, TV, film, etc.? What is it to you that makes games such a unique medium when it comes to storytelling? Pretty solid question, Vaughn. Was this your question or was this Brandon's question?
This is Brandon's question.
All right, Brandon's question. So, Brandon, you go ahead and get it started.
Yeah, I can start it off. I just think video games are undisputed the best medium in all aspects. Just as a disclaimer, but I guess the question just kind of stemmed from I really wanted to know what you guys think, because I think there's almost like a general kind of consensus of like, environmental storytelling, and like we were talking about Weird West, all these choices and you're putting yourself in, but there's a very specific part of that I think doesn't get done very well often. And it's something that the games I have listed down are BioShock, Metal Gear Solid 5, and I would kind of argue any From Software game, maybe not any, but specifically Bloodborne and to me Elden Ring, those two. And for example, with BioShock, the would you kindly moment is revolutionary to me. Like
Yeah.
that was the moment where video games turned into something else in my mind. Where I was like,
Right.
oh, this is crazy. I
Like,
never go ahead.
that twist put the concept of twists to like,
Yeah.
and just because we're bringing up like compared to movies and stuff, it's like I'd seen plenty of movies up to that point, had plenty of twists in them. That was
Dude. And
hands down the craziest twist that I'd ever seen, and probably till this day one of the top craziest things. And all the other tops are also within the gaming realm.
mhm. And it's cool because it's something that can only be conveyed through a video game. You would not get that in a movie because I'm just watching the movie. With the game, it's playing into the idea of questing. Like, would you kindly go do this? Would you kindly go do that? It's a video game. I'm gonna do that. Like that's the whole point is to have the goal. And then to twist it on, those are your slave words. Did you actually ever choose? Did you really ever have any say in any of this? It's like, whoa, whoa. Same thing with Metal Gear Solid 5. I love the comedy of kidnapping soldiers with balloons. It's like you see that the first time you're like, oh, that's so funny. And then it's a video game, so it's like, okay, he's an S rank in this and he's an A rank in this. But then the story capitalizes on like, dog, you're kidnapping and brainwashing these people. Like you are really gamifying proxy wars in a way that's like, oh man, you're turning violence into a high score. It's so cool. And then what was the last one I had? Oh, from Soft Games. Yeah, like dude, the discussions we've had about Elden Ring are so cool just because they put so much density into the lore we do know that it leaves so much, open interpretation to for you to kind of project your beliefs or your viewpoint on the world into it that it turns into something completely different. And I know you could say that with like paintings or movies and to a degree, but there's something uniquely special about the character I chose, the stats I chose to go into, to where it's like, especially in Elden Ring, where every little stupid detail has lore to it. Even the colors of your health bar and stamina and mana and stuff. Like your mana is magic, which is also intelligence, which is also Rani. So it's like blue, so you're cold, so you're all logic. Whereas red is going to be your health, which is blood, which is what's his name, Horaloo. He's covered. He rips the blue off of him and is soaked in red. It's like, oh my god, that's so crazy that you can operate at that level and still make it just fun. There's still just the level of you don't even got to know all that. Stuff does not even have to matter to you whatsoever, which is something that video games will always. That's why they're the goat to me. It's as deep as you want it to be, and 9 times out of 10, these games are way deeper than people give them credit or even know. Like, I won't go into the whole thing, but like, look up some Devil May Cry, lore videos. You think that's just silly? Ooh, I'm killing. Let's rock, baby. But it's subverting everything in the same way like Berserk does with colors and who's good, who's bad, blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah, I just think video games are the stone cold killers of that, and it's only getting better because you just have people that are just trying to do unique stuff, trying to push it.
Oh yeah, it's I can definitely vibe with that. I mean, Vaughn, you want to go, or should I hop on in there? I mean, there's just
I'll add to it. Yeah, I think we're seeing the landscape move from the games copying movies to movies copying games in their format, in their narrative structure, in pretty much every aspect. And I was going to start this topic off with it being a very psychological question, because there's a lot of things at play, and it's also very subjective because us three in what we play are usually pretty narratively driven games most of the time, whereas you could have another subset that only play sports games. And I'm not going to knock sports games or mobile games or anything like that, but structurally, it's you know what you're getting with that. Whereas, like you said, BioShock, it's playing off of the trope of you're going to do objectives. You have an objective on the screen that says go kill this guy. You're just going to go do it, and then to come to find out that you were Jason Bourne into doing that the whole time. Like you said, you can't do that anywhere else. You can have twists in movies, but it's the interactivity of games that changes the whole landscape. Like when you're passively watching movies, it's one thing. It's enjoyable. Like they can turn it on you and twist it and be surprised and enjoy it. But if you're actually making this character do something and then it's twisted on you, it feels completely different. But I think also the perspective. Oh, you were going to say something?
No, go ahead. Mine's a little longer.
Adrian, you can go.
No, yeah, I was just saying.
I'm sorry. What were you going to say about perspective?
I think perspective plays into it too, where some people get more out of first person because it puts them as if they're doing it.
Oh, like the actual like third to first
perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Like actual perspective
versus third person. Where
Last of Us. Yeah, Last of Us being third person. You're not Joel. And he makes decisions you don't agree with, you know.
I'm weird in that I get more personal satisfaction from the third person gameplay, where I can see myself in that character more from a third person compared to first person, which I don't have any studies on it, but I'd like to say that most people don't feel that way because you're seeing something outside of your own body, whereas if I'm just seeing a gun or my hands and then nothing else, that's you. So it's kind of the opposite for me. But yeah, perspective plays a big role, especially in the aspect of which was another point I was going to bring up, but might as well just do it now. The direction or director and producer of games can guide you in a way that movies just can't. Collectibles, environmental storytelling, camera shifts. Like movies can camera shift and info dump on you, but you're also limited by human beings' attention spans. So you're going to get like a 2-3 hour movie max, and then that's all the time you have. You could do like supplemental comics and anime stuff on the side to fulfill the extra narrative, but games, you can have it last however long and fill it with the stuff that the game creators want you to see.
Yeah, it's funny too because in that way, excuse me, it feels more like a novel or a series of books. So two games that come to my mind are Red Dead 2 and Last of Us 2. Those two specifically feel more like books to me than they do movies, even though people are like, wow, they're so cinematic. It's like the depth and time you're spending with those characters. And also, just even in the same way, movies a lot of times are trying to be crowd pleasers. Books, a lot of times you're following characters that are like, damn, these guys kind of suck. You know, like these are some terrible people, but I'm here for the story. And just for my point earlier of Red Dead, like I had such a weird experience with Red Dead where when I started it, like we were saying on the last case, don't really like the intro, but you know, I'm drawn into it because it's Red Dead. I'm going to play it regardless of how slow this intro is. I love Red Dead. And at the time, the graphics were just insane, but it's also key to remember GTA 4, GTA 5, even Red Dead 1, you know, it's very gamey. You're running everywhere. You're in arcade mode mind. Red Dead 2 subverts that completely. if you go sprinting into a bar, he'll push the doors open and everybody will look at you like, yo, dude, what are you doing? You can disturb the peace. Very reactive. And for the first half of that game, I was a psychopath. Like, I was in Grand Theft Auto mind, where I'm just killing people, being a lunatic. The story plays into that. And then halfway through, once he gets tuberculosis, naturally, I just started to actually like Arthur a lot and naturally started to become a good guy and redeemed. So it's like they naturally pushed me in the direction that would kind of make the most sense for that character without ever forcing me. Like, it's incredible.
And that's where the game part comes into play too, because you could have done something completely different. You could have viewed it completely different. Like Last of Us 2, going all sheepish and sneaking, and then as the narrative builds, your mindset might completely change, and then you're a maniac from X point onwards. So it's the interactive nature of games fundamentally changes anything that a movie, TV, comics could ever do, in my mind.
Well, and I guess I just piggyback off that, because that's literally what I got wrote down for, just one of my bullet points is the interactivity. I guess just to build on that, the interactivity and essentially the connections you build with characters via, I'll try, because I'm just trying not to rehash too much, but via that interactivity. So it's like having a character, obviously having those connections with, say you're playing, you can obviously use games from the Soul series and stuff like that, but any game with like an actual present villain, with a personal villain, in a game, it's that person is actively wronging you to some degree. So it draws you into the story. So whereas like I can go watch, a Marvel movie and there's Thanos, it's like I can relate with, the characters he's, that are trying to stop him, and I could feel that emotion on their behalf, but he hasn't done anything to me. And that's part of, something that gaming can also bring to the table, where it's like, if a boss is pissing me off enough or doing something to me or kills a character, for example, like if I'm playing a game, really, it happens in a lot of games, but games where there's characters giving you rewards for quests, or as the game progresses, those characters are doing things for you, or especially in RPGs, where like JRPGs, where it's like they're part of your team, they're part of your core unit, and they're killed. So it's like you've spent time investing into a character, and time leveling up a character, and time giving a character stats, and then that character is killed. And it's like that gives me genuine anger and malice towards that character. It actually provokes me to push the story forward, and achieve that victory. Or on the other hand, where there is bad guys, and it's like, God,
thunder, lightning,
fucking A. But yeah, it's one of those where it's like, if in a movie or a book or whatever, you can look on the outside looking in, and you're like, oh man, screw that guy, that guy's a bad guy. But it's like any game that allows branching paths, where maybe they're offering you something, and it's like, I mean, yeah, it's easy to say when I'm watching a movie or book, don't do it. But when that guy's like, how about I pretty much double all your stats? It's like, I don't know. This guy might be out here spitting a little bit. But just to kind of also piggyback on what Brandon said, in terms of being like an overall the best medium, it's I had this discussion with somebody a long time ago, and they were just like adamantly against games, essentially just kind of threw them away. And I wasn't going to like battle with them, but it's like, for you to say that games are a waste of time is so incredibly, I'm trying to think, of dismissive of the amount of skill it takes on all branches. And I think Souls games, obviously we're all Souls fans here, and I'll try to come up with new examples, but until they stop being the fucking best at it, it's going to be hard pressed to find better examples. But for example, obviously they're cinematically, and just like the landscapes that they make are really second to none. But music is something that goes incredibly underappreciated, and I think that game not only has phenomenal soundtracks, but their soundtracks are implemented in a way that tells a story, and it's not something you're going to see obviously in literature at all because you can't hear, and in films there's really not enough time. And I guess the best example I can give of kind of this is the was it the Ludwig fight from Bloodborne, and it literally the music tells a story of a raging beast, and then when he gets lucid in after like his second phase, he becomes lucid, it starts to play a more regal, a more refined, tone. Essentially, you're finding out through the music what his mindset is, where his head is, where it's you're no longer fighting this horrific monster, you're fighting a man who, through essentially fate, was turned into a beast, a man that used to be a respectable, you know, hero, uh, more or less. And that's just not something you can really see in movies. You get, for lack of a better term, it's like theme songs. When someone shows up, they'll get a whatever kind of musical sting, melody, and it's just kind of like, yeah, this guy's here. This is his music. But there is something about, I think, games that allows it to tell, like, once again, another Souls game, like the Midir fight, like, and then here finding out about his lore. It's, essentially the sorrow of a once noble beast turned into a monster, due to consumption of darkness, which was his duty. And it's just one of those things where it's like it was both incredibly beautiful, but really kind of sold the despair of what you were really seeing. You weren't just seeing a mindless monster uh bent on killing. You were seeing a noble creature that fell from grace due to its oath to protect. And it just really sells the tragedy, and there's examples all throughout games of that. But yeah, I think interactivity and the connection that you're going to form with the characters is just simply not something that you're going to see other places because it is your doing. And kind of what with Vaughn was saying, it's like dependent on the perspective. Um, all those things, kind of how you view those connections changes. So, like for example, playing, uh, you know, JRPG, you make connections with your characters. Those are parties. Those are your boys. But, you are like an ethereal outside force, at least for me. And it's like they're taking away your comrades. Everybody there, including usually there's like a main unit, main character unit. And it's like that is still my comrade. Whereas, like, I'll play a game like Total War, Warhammer Total War, where it's like armies and armies and armies. And it's, you're playing as all these factions, but if you know things about Warhammer, you're essentially playing their patron god to an extent. So it's like if I'm playing with, the armies of Corn, I essentially am Corn. So I'm infuriated. And if that game does it really well, it's like because different armies have different wind conditions and they have different impacts on like the environment as you're playing. And it's like, if I'm Corn, I don't care where the blood flows, only that it does. I only care that my armies remain. I only care that my armies remain mobile because I believe my armies to be the best at spilling blood and claiming skulls. If I'm Nurgle, my goal is to just spread pestilence and disease. I don't care if I take your fucking town, as long as I gave it super aids and left. Like, that's all I wanted to do. That's all I came here for. So it's, one of those things where the perspective of the game greatly will change your connections with those characters, but those connections, regardless of what they may be, are just simply something that I don't think can be replicated in any other media source.
Yeah, you said the thing about the music. telling a story. I don't know if you guys know about this. So there's this YouTuber. His name's Marco Meatball. He used to be like an opera singer, and so his channel is dedicated to video game music. That guy actually, shout out to him. His videos are awesome. That dude helped me understand how like classical music operates in like a very it's so deep. But he was listening to Dark Souls 3 soundtrack, specifically the Nameless King, and he was like, "Huh, wait a minute. This is Gwen's theme. You can hear it in the bells." And the comment section blew up like, "Dude, we've all suspected this was Gwen's kid, but we never had conclusive evidence. You literally just gave us conclusive evidence that this is Gwen's lost son based off of the music telling a story, and it doesn't happen until the dragon dies, and it's just a very faint bell going pling plong plong." So sick, dude. And then one more example I was thinking of, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it sparked this idea of saying how when the antagonist or the enemy is attacking you directly, and the way that that evokes a different emotion opposed to when you're watching a movie. I was thinking specifically of this scene in The Last of Us 2 when you're Abby crawling in this parking lot and the sniper is shooting down on you. Dude, that part was so annoying. The difficulty spike was through the roof, dog. I was enraged. I'm like, dude, when I get up here, I'm about to brutalize whoever this sniper is. Just to find out it was Tommy. Immediately my emotions, wait, no, it's Tommy, wait. Like
Yeah.
the emotional whiplash of that, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm not her, but the gameplay is attacking me. So it's like this perfect, just psychological twist around. Very, very cool. Very,
And
very cool.
and keeping in mind also, and that kind of brings up a good point that I don't think anybody's really mentioned. It's the reward for like the skill aspect of it. Your frustration is based almost exclusively in an instance like that is based on your skill. So you're getting, regardless of what's happening, you're getting your little drops of dopamine and your encouragement through success in the game. Whether that success leads to some shit that you don't want to happen, in games like Last of Us, or other games that have similar narratives where it's like ultimately it's leading to something bad or that you don't want to happen, you
Yeah.
know. But it is, it encourages you to keep engaged in the story because your that part of your brain is being satisfied at all times, whereas like something like a movie or a show, it's like you can lose interest quickly. It's like how I am with a lot of shows. I'm not a huge show watcher. Like I like animes, but I'm really not a huge show watcher. But it's like any show where like their whole thing is like, yeah, we'll kill anybody and everybody. It's like, dude, if you kill all the characters I give a shit about, I'm done. I don't care. I don't
Game of
care. I don't care.
Thrones.
Yeah, yeah.
Game of Thrones sucks.
I never watched it, and it's like it's one of those things. It's like I will relate to a couple characters, and that was that. But that's how I am with TV shows. Like for example, like that Shameless show. I fucking hate that
Dude,
show.
that show sucks.
I hate that show because everybody in there is an unlikable douche. Every single one of them is the worst, and it's like I don't care.
After 3
Whereas,
seasons, I hope more bad stuff happens to
yeah,
you. Like,
yeah,
dog, you're
you
not
just
changing your life at
you
all.
deserve everything that's happening to you. Whereas,
Yeah.
like in a game, even if I don't like a character, like I don't like Abby because I'm not even gonna say spoilers. I should, but I guess. But I don't
Spoiler,
like.
she loves Joel.
Yeah, I don't like Abby
Too
because she
much.
killed Joe, but I was actively invested in her success. It encouraged me to engage with a character I otherwise would have zero interest in engaging with if if I had an option. So, but because of that, it allows me to see other perspectives and other parts of the story and forces me to engage with them.
Yeah,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I mean that's kind of really just the core of it. Just that the amount of and it's kind of it goes back with interactivity, but it is the sad, I'm still getting the upgrades, I'm still getting that dopamine, I'm still finding collectibles, still uncovering things that are satisfying my brain enough to encourage me to engage. And I think that opens up the door to different perspectives, especially, I mean, even looking at games where like the core of the game is to be evil, like Overlord and stuff like that. I don't That game is kind of just for fun. But there are games that have used that to essentially allow you to explore what is evil. And I don't mean just like to on like a, like a what is true evil, but it's like, yeah, it's like what is evil at what point, at what point is it just how things, like you looking at other, it's like, is this just how things are in this place, in this specific environment, this story, this world, whatever you want to call it? It's like, am I the bad guy, or is this just how people get down here? And then as I'm exploring it, I'm realizing, oh shit, I'm really no worse than anybody else here. I'm just the biggest dick swinging around, so everybody immediately makes me public enemy number one.
That's how Metal Gear Solid 5 is, I think. Like you are wholeheartedly, openly from the beginning on a revenge quest. He says, "We're going to hell." He's like, "No, we're going deeper." And then you proceed to kidnap people and grow horns out of your head. But I'm totally down for your revenge quest. I saw your side of the story, and it's kind of like the same thing with Last of Us, where what an interesting. I guess I hadn't. I, we brought it up, but I guess I hadn't fully clicked how you as the player and your interaction through the gameplay is your mechanism to connect with the characters inadvertently. That's so interesting. Where my first playthrough, which I'm not gonna lie, my first playthrough of Last of Us 2, um once Joel cracked open a nice Sam's Cola, I kind of went into Game of Thrones mode where I just numbed out because I'm like, okay,
Delicious
they're
American
they're
beverage.
they're killing people. I just need to numb out and assume that the people I love are going to get killed at this point. So I didn't hate nor love anybody or anything. I just kind of went with it. And with Abby, I guess you could say you're like, you're apathetic because you're like, I don't want to be the person who killed my homie. But that sniper scene was when it all kind of, because if I hadn't died so many times, right? If like, because they're probably going to do that scene in the show, she's just going to get right through, right? But I died a lot of times. Like I got dogged for real. I'm like laying under the cars, throwing Molotovs, screaming. I'm so angry. So it gave me that visceral reaction. Oh, dude, I wasn't close at all for a long period. So hard, dude, for no reason. Um, that yeah, it was like an instant respect where I'm like, wow, you're doing something that I can't comprehend. It's almost like when you were developing the scene, there's the story going on, and then there's the meta interaction between you and the game that's happening. That is truly what's happening. That's actually what's being they're messing with your emotions. Like, oh, how bad did this suck? That's one of your favorite characters you're trying to you're trying to kill now, which plays into what you're saying. Who's really the good guys and bad guys here? Because everything leading up to that, you're seeing, which I really hope they explore at one point. Something that goes untalked about is this dude Tommy is on a war path, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like it is the Scara. Everywhere you go, this dude is dogging people. It's like, God, Tommy. But
Everybody like Joel was hard. This dude Tommy is
yeah,
fucking people up. And just kind of just touch on at least one more thing on my part. I meant to bring it up a little bit earlier with just the Metal Gear. We were talking about twists. My one of my biggest things, like kind of moments that hit me, it was in Ground Zeroes. And it was you're talking about how it kind of gamifies what you're doing. You you know, taking it as a prior service Marine, I didn't even realize in like environmental storytelling, I didn't realize that's a Marine installation in Ground Zeroes.
oh yeah,
So, if you go through playing Metal Gear, how I play Metal Gear, it's like, oh fuck,
people.
did I murder an entire base of just Marines stationed here for my own ends, and it really, but what it did was it kind of really set up that Snake is off the fucking reservation. He
Mhm.
is he's not he is here for his purposes and his purposes alone. If it benefits him, then you're on his side, but if you're not, you are fully expendable.
Highlight
So
me. Oh, sorry, bud.
I was just saying, it just kind of really, that was one of those moments that I was like, oh shit, they're, as we said a couple times, it's like, what is bad in an environment? Like, what is a bad guy in a fucking war? It's like, it's like, yeah, it's looking at it from the American perspective. It's like, oh man, I can't believe he did that. But it's like, in reality, that man don't owe you shit. He don't owe you a thing, especially with all the sacrifice and stuff he's made. It totally makes sense that he's like, if you're in my way, I don't care. I don't owe you my loyalties.
It's like Hotline Miami 2. Hotline Miami 2, I don't know if you guys have played that one, but excuse me. It plays with that idea so deeply where you're constantly changing characters and changing perspectives. And, because Hotline Miami is kill the room as fast as you can, get the highest score on a simple level. Hotline Miami 2 starts playing with, okay, do the same thing, but in this one, you're an actual serial killer, or you're a soldier in Vietnam, or you're a Russian mob boss who's trying to get out, or you're a detective who technically isn't allowed to kill anybody. And you're getting violence from all these different perspectives, but at the end, it's a room full of bodies. Like that is the end result every single time. It looks exactly the same. But everybody has their own. Well, this is the reason why I had to rip his throat out and slaughter everybody. It's like Hollow Man 2 is extremely good, by the way. Like extremely good.
It's just a beautiful exploration of just games, and like games in general. It's an exploration of perspectives via different perspectives, and that's just just one of the facets that the as you said, King of Kings, the highest tier of artistic expression. I don't think any of us would be here doing this if we didn't wholeheartedly believe that to some extent. But it is just always nice to kind of break it down on a fundamental level and try to take a look at why it's making me feel this way.
That's why I always say they're my books. Like, just have a library of them and you go through them.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. Yeah. Even though that is generally the point we're getting at, it is interesting to a game forces you to actually play someone's perspective. You have to achieve the goals that character wants, not necessarily the goals you want. And then when you're watching a movie, I'm just observing you. I'm like not even really here. Same thing with a book. I'm just kind of here for the ride. That's very interesting.
And that's not even taking into account games that give you multiple choices for the narrative. So that adds a whole nother element like Mass Effect, where you can go good, you can go bad, you can go neutral, and that changes, maybe not drastically, but it changes how the story plays out, at least for the person that's making those choices, where the movie's telling you A to Z what you're going to see.
How you're supposed to feel, and then it might tell you, oh well, it'll give you a villain with like a backstory. It's like, well, how bad was he? That shit. But it's like
tired of that, dude.
Yeah, a game that allows you to really just fully engage with.
Corella DeVille is a bad guy. I'm not trying to hear otherwise, dude. Not trying to hear it. She's bad.
But what did the dogs
no
do?
sympathy. Yeah, right. What's her side of the story? They're Dalmatians. Dude.
Maybe they were talking shit. You never know, dude. I mean, I'm not supposed to let them talk shit to me because they're a dog.
So played out.
Oh yeah. Mass Effect's a really good example. Mass Effect is
Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate's an excellent one.
But yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah,
we can go down. But yeah, no games. King of Kings. Any other tidbits on this that we want to throw out there?
It was meaty. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I could go on and on about that one.
Oh yeah, it's infinite possibilities.
Yeah, it's the best.
All right. All right. So next one up is: are there any genres or trends in gaming emerging that you believe are worth keeping an eye on, and why? So, Vaughn.
This one, I couldn't think of anything that's trending genre-wise. We're kind of in a weird state with the industry where people are in a... They know what they need to do to make money, and they're not really experimenting to a degree that we all want. So, genre-wise, nothing stands out. I'm seeing slightly more isometric games, which is a nice change because that used to be a very PC-centric perspective, and now that the consoles are at a state where they can handle them, we're seeing them. Like your West number 7 game, that one was working very, very well from when I was watching you play it, especially with all the mechanics going on. I'm surprised that was as smooth as you were showing off. So
It's so good. It's so good.
I do have some trends that I am personally annoyed with and would like them to not be doing.
Send it.
One of them is the early access for deluxe editions, where you get like 3 days early if you spend $10 more. Just give me more like stuff, like skins or something in the game. Like I don't need to play 3 days early anyway. It doesn't do anything. Like my ego isn't going to be boosted enough to warrant the $10. I've done it a handful of times because I'm weak and I'm but a man. But I don't like it. Resident Evil's a big proponent of this, being one of my favorite franchises. I hate that they're doing it, but I wish they'd get rid of that. I
think pre-orders that should come standard with a pre-order, in my opinion. Like if they're going to do that, because it's like, you're right. It only benefits if you were like a games journalist or something. It only benefits you. But if that's the case, then you probably have a copy ahead of time anyway. So, like you said, it's like an ego boost thing, and I feel like they shouldn't be tied to a number amount. I feel like even if you pre-order the standard edition, you should get it a little early. So,
or even make it cheaper. Like
right, there's just no value. Right, that would fucking you're out of your mind.
Another one that I came up with was digital art books. Like, I don't.
Oh yeah. Super lame.
If you're gonna have a collector's edition, throw an art book in there. That's something
like
cool to have.
Physical, yeah.
Yeah. Digital art book that I can't export or do anything with. It's stuck on my system. Cool, yeah. I guess.
And let's be honest, somebody can and somebody will within probably a relatively short period of time. So my exclusive digital art book will be public domain within a week of release.
Yeah. I'm also kind of at that point with digital soundtracks, although I do enjoy just throwing like the soundtrack app that they give for each game that does that on my system and kind of just doing stuff in the background while it plays on my TV. It's cool. But that soundtrack's going to come out on streaming services anyway, so you're really not giving me anything I can't get somewhere else. Throw that in the pre-order. Or not throw it in the pre-order, but like throw it in collector's edition specifically. Like give me a disc. I know people don't have CD players anymore, but it's something. The physical people are crazy. They love that stuff. Throw it in there.
Yeah. Give me something that other people don't have, even if it's something that minor. Like I have the Cuphead vinyl.
That's cool.
And it's like really cool. It's like that's cool. I don't have a fucking vinyl player. I don't even have one, but I have it. It's cool to have. If other games release, had that as a collector's item, I would consider that to be a bonus, like a genuine bonus. It's a physical item. I have my little trophy wall as well. Obviously not in this office because it's full of tools and shit, but it's like I have my own little trophy wall, and that's something that I like to have up there. They're just small things.
I don't like things, I guess.
I mean, they just it's everything that you mentioned up until up until now, it's either coming out. Everybody's going to get it. So 3 days early doesn't mean anything. Anybody and journalists and shit got it way before me. So it's like, it's not even like I'm the first guy to play it. And then everything else will be available to the general public regardless within a week's time. So it's like, you've really given me nothing. There is no additional value proposition there.
Cool, dude. You have $10 more than Joe Schmo. Get bent.
Right. And you got
3 days is 3 days is such an
did.
arbitrary number. It's like, dude, who cares? Instead of Friday, Wednesday, come on.
We're all fucking. I mean, obviously, there's kids that play games, but we're grown adults. It's like, what am I gonna go to my friends and be like, listen up, guys, look what I got? It's like,
who cares?
Who gives a shit? It's not. It's not giving me anything. I don't think the idea of like lording game, like the fact that someone got to play and someone didn't over somebody is particularly cool any fucking way, because it's like the whole point is that everybody gets to play the game. I don't know why you're making this weird cool guy club for 3 days. It's A, nobody cares. B, you're just keeping more people from having your game. So I don't know.
It's easy money, so I understand why they do it.
Yeah, I get why they do it, but it's just like,
don't do it.
I don't know.
That's how you also, that's also how you get the stuff where like, Shadow of the Erd Tree came out and thumbnails were the final boss instantly.
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on. Like, that sucks. Like, Kaisenet had his thumbnail was just straight up the final boss. Like, I know this doesn't mean anything to you, but it means something to us. Like,
I pretty much figured the pre-order. I mean, with the release of digital, I understand why that is. Things are kind of the way they are, but like you said, give me more cosmetics because the landscape changed, and that's fine. Like when physical was where it was at, you would have more physical things.
Keychains,
so
shirts,
it made way more sense. But now that the landscape is primarily digital, give me more things that are worth having digitally. Like skins, extra whatever within the game, yada yada, so on and so forth. No pay to win shit, obviously, but if it's like a single player game, give me a classic. Even if it's obviously like the newer Resident Evils don't star the original cast, but just give me a little bit of nostalgia, give me a little something, give me a RPD uniform or something like that, like, it doesn't have to fit the character. Capcom is notorious for their cosmetics being ridiculous. The Leon fucking tux with Ashley armor, it's like, it's fun. It's fun. That's it. You don't have to take it too serious. Give me a Dante skin. Why not? So,
yeah, that's all I had.
I'm surprised they never gave it. Honestly, surprised they never gave Leon a Dante skin. He is Dante.
Yeah, he fits the profile super well. But and that's the thing. It's like I mean, Capcom's definitely been on like a somewhat of a redemption arc for the past few years. So I can't.
Dante and Leon, I should say.
Yeah, I can't fault them for. Well, in his current iteration, they're kind of one in the same.
Well, yeah, he was originally Resident Evil 4 originally started out and turned into a Devil May Cry game. So
it's the Leon we could have had, which, to be honest, when you're looking at the shit he's doing, he's not much less dangerous than Dante would be.
He's just a grounded Dante. Like, he's making quips with a crazy
grounded as much as he can be, because he is doing some hog wild shit. He's hitting backflips for no reason. He's simultaneously a ninja, a sniper, a fucking secret agent, a goddamn computer hacker, a vehicle expert, fucking kung fu master. I mean, I'm not complaining. There's zero complaints, but it's like,
he's that
dude. It's one of those things where it's like a lot of people, me myself as well. It's like, practically, I'm like, yeah, the president definitely sent in one person to go save his kid. Absolutely not. That place would be crawling with SEALs in like a heartbeat. Right. That would have been a slaughter. But then again, you see Leon S. Kennedy hit a triple backflip and do a spinning roundhouse that turns someone's skull completely around and then, turns that into a perfect one leg shot to a back mount to somebody's grandmother and suplexes her head so hard on the floor and explodes. You're like, Jesus, maybe Leon was overkill. Maybe he should have sent in a team of SEALs. Dude, this is rough shit. Like, he is kicking your ass. He doesn't even flinch. El Gigante shows up. He's like, yeah, whatever. It's like, I played Resident Evil 2. We didn't see some shit like this. It's like, yeah, he's been around the block. It's like,
how many blocks?
Your citation needed, dude. He saw, Birkin the one time, and to be honest, it was a miracle that he wasn't traumatized for the rest of his life. You're telling me he instead, oh, dude. I mean, it changed him in the wildest way. This dude looked at a person the size of like 2 buildings stacked on top. He's like, I whoop his ass.
Isn't it Krauser that trained him? We should get a Krauser game. That'd be cool. How did Krauser come up and...
I need a Wesker game first.
Dude.
Yeah, that'd be sick. How Wesker turns into a sympathetic villain.
Total gaming saturation.
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Ouroboros. Yeah, so I was coming at this, I guess, from a little bit more of a
hopeful... I guess you're going to start. I won't call you out. Okay.
Oh, I thought you went. My bad. You can go.
No. Sorry, no. I was just saying I'm like supposed to be hosting, and you're just like, go ahead, do your thing. No, go ahead, Brandon. Since you're
welcome back to Redacted Party Chat, where I'm the host now.
Fucking dude remembers to charge his phone one time. He thinks he can just hijack this thing.
What's funny is if I ended up being the host again, I was going to say the exact same thing. Welcome back to Redacted Party Chat, where my phone is charged. So it was funny when you said that. Yeah, so I was coming at this from, I guess, a little bit more of a hopeful kind of perspective. I think there have been certain games in the past maybe 3 to 5 years that have put the entire industry on watch. Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate, Kingdom Come Deliverance, No Man's Sky, Path of Exiles. All of these games in some fashion or another are showing you because No Man's Sky isn't full price, but I think and neither is Path of Exiles, but these games are all made by smaller teams with more content, higher quality than anything that is AAA. And you even see these devs coming out being like, man. They're like upset at how high quality these games are. Like,
you can't expect this level of quality from everybody. It's like you're a bigger studio.
I will never purchase whatever you put out then. That's for sure. Like, because it is. And then it's exactly what you were saying earlier about the Chinese games, where it's like they're exposing people right now. They're exposing people hard, where it's like, that's crazy. They just put out this. I mean, I only watched a few minutes of gameplay, but dude, it looked pretty high quality.
Everything you're seeing is exactly what you think it is, and that's kind of my point.
Exactly.
That's my point, where it's these Korean and Chinese studios, whether it be for like what Vaughn was saying, whether it's because certain countries actually give a shit about their cultural impact, and a lot of those countries use those games as vessels for their culture. Look at Black Myth Wukong. It's like that told a story that is relevant to China's mythological history, and it's a fun game. It looked fantastic, played fantastic, and was very widespread. And it wasn't essentially, it was not as hard as everybody else is making it seem. And it's the same thing with these other games like that. Like, it's using like Genshin Impact and stuff like that as an example. These studios have been overcharging for what it is, and then they're inflating their costs for Lord only knows what reason. And Lord only knows if that is the actual cost of the game. And then they put these price tags on it to justify, they justify those price tags with the supposed scope of this game. And these studios that are doing it with much less people for much less money, even using free-to-play models with cosmetics, it's like they're exposing you. Before, we kind of just had to assume bullshit. now we can straight up call bullshit. I can call bullshit on you because I'm seeing it done before my very eyes by a substantially smaller amount of people, and they're doing it better.
Dude, there are roughly 2,000 to 3,000 people working on Assassin's Creed. I don't think Assassin's Creed is like bottom of the barrel of quality, but come on.
These
There's a
motherfuckers are
reason.
spending the GDP of small nations on
This is
games.
what I'm saying. It's like you're talking about games are so expensive, this, that, and the other. It's like you have 3,000 people working on this game. Kingdom Come Deliverance has a studio, I think, of like 200. What's your excuse?
Right.
There is none. It's incompetence, and you're disorganized. Is really what it comes down to.
Oh, yeah.
It's mismanaged, and just to, I guess, kind of separate a little bit. So I kind of put Baldur's Gate and Elden Ring in the same category of high quality content. There's more game here than, they went above and beyond. Then you have stuff like, and then same thing with Kingdom Come Deliverance. Then you have games that are like proving that communication with the community and integrity go a long way. And that's where I was talking No Man's Sky and Path of Exiles, where they are very involved with the community and just doing the right thing. Just do the right thing. And look how it's paid off. Path of Exiles has effectively publicly decapitated Diablo. Done. Diablo is like pretty much no more, I would imagine.
Right. Diablo 4.
At this point, Diablo's... Yeah. And at this point, Diablo is going to have to start chasing Path of Exiles. It just... and then games that I think... I only have one example right now, but
real quick, Brandon, just on that specific point, just to kind of go with that trend, and it was something that was a roller coaster of emotions, was Helldivers 2. Just kind of like the goodwill thing, because they had all the community's goodwill. They shit it the bed and fucking lost it, and then you saw them in real time make the necessary changes to get the goodwill back with the community. So
yes,
I can just as pointing as, a really, like, I guess a more accessible, because there's a lot of people that, probably don't play Path of Exiles, but yeah, Helldivers 2 is probably one of the biggest high profile and, like I said, emotional roller coasters, where they went up and they shot way down when they disrespected the community. And then you essentially saw them turn around like, okay. And it not only did it demonstrate that they were listening, but it also demonstrated the community's willingness to actually give them that opportunity. I think that's another typical excuse that a lot of studios will kind of make, which is kind of like, why bother? Because it won't change anything. And it's like, no, if you are sincere in your mistake and sincerely take the necessary steps to correct that mistake, then the community will by all means rally behind you and give you a hand back up. But you don't sit there all indignant and say, oh, well, they're just too picky. They're too picky, and they don't like what we did, and it's, too bad. So I just wanted to point that out as one of a good example of not only a game that came out good, but did shit the bed, but then turned it around.
That's a great example, because Arrowhead showed humility. You're a human, just like me, dude. We don't have to be in this constant power dynamic. It's like everybody loves a good redemption story, and everybody enjoys a sincere apology. Like No Man's Sky, this dude's still saying sorry. We forgave him years ago, years ago, and really, I don't even really think it's his fault. I think Sony set him up to fail on that one, personally.
Right. It's a perfect example of like the pitfalls of like the us versus them mentality, which everybody knows I am a huge proponent of to a degree. But that is where the sincerity comes in. And that's where, when we talk about, not to get off on a side tangent, but when we talk about the witch hunts and shit like that, and when, like we were talking about before, it's like, where do you draw the line? It's like, you essentially establish that you're willing to, your sincerity can be felt. So people are like, well, then how will you know? It's like, well, clearly,
you'll know.
You will know. We will know.
CD Projekt Red,
There's plenty of examples where it's like, you can't just say, well, how, and you can, and it's a solid question, but that's why I have faith overall in that mentality where it is.
Yeah.
It is. I think if you're sincere, people will know, and it's not to be as cliche as humanly possible, but actions speak louder than words, and it can be. You can tell by the effort. It's like it's essentially like if I have a chef and the chef fucks up my food, I don't want the chef to never make food again because I want to eat. I would love for you to turn around and say, that was on me. I used shitty ingredients or I didn't care. So I just kind of threw some slop together. Let me make you something better. And it's like, good. I can keep eating. You can keep cooking and we can have a good dynamic. This doesn't have to be a me versus you thing.
That's a great metaphor. That's a great metaphor for it. And then the trend or game mechanic that I think is kind of cool and adds a lot is even though it's not necessarily new, but it's just being implemented and becoming more of a trend, I guess, is just like proximity chat that fades as you get further away. You have like what's is it Lethal Company? Is that what they get? Dude, I have never played that. I watched so many streams of that. It was like watching the funniest TV show of all time. Hearing people get snatched and scream just and then fade down the hallway. And just kind of like I guess what people are referring to as like friend slot games. They are fun. And they're hilarious. Like, it's 10, $20, whatever. I get belly laughs if I get one belly laugh out of $10, dude, it was worth it. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope Lethal Company comes to console, but
I'm surprised it hasn't.
I know. And Arc Raiders as well, even though I haven't played Arc Raiders, and I'm still kind of hard pressed. Like, I don't really see what's unique about that game. Not to
me either. I really don't either. I'm not knocking it by
yeah, exactly. I saw one clip that maybe was kind of cool where they were like up on this tower and he shot at some kind of robot spider and that thing launched across the map at them. That was kind of cool, but it has like the proximity chat and voice changers and stuff. And like for example, Nate said he tuned his to sound like Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men, and he said he's sneaking up on people like flip a coin. And they're like, what? You have to choose. I cannot choose for you. Like, okay. That's crazy.
You married into
it? Yeah, right. You don't know what you're talking about, do you? Like, I guess I don't.
So unnerving.
So scary. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had on that.
Okay. So mine it's kind of it's a trend, but it's also kind of like a subgenre of games. It is like the demake, almost like old retro style of games. I know it's been a thing for a little bit now, but I think you're seeing like games that are essentially not entirely demakes like the Bloodborne PS1 thing, but because I've been playing Crow Country. Been playing Crow Country, and it's essentially the more retro aesthetic and simplicity, kind of simplified games. And the reason, really, there's a couple of reasons, but the first reason is I think it's something to be watched because it kind of coincides. I think it's something to be watched because I think as you simplify games, I think it's easy for us to all get kind of distracted with the more features a game has. And I think doing that, because we always say, mechanics and gameplay is king when it comes to quality. I think adding so many bells and whistles, sometimes you get lost. And not to say they're bad games, but it kind of allows the game to be subpar because you're distracted by all the possibilities. And it's nothing really impressive. Whereas a game that's made to be simple is, a game that's made to be simple and performs exceptionally well. It to me demonstrates like the skill and understanding of game design and game making, and that allows you to really focus in on studios and maybe even individuals who really understand the genre, I guess, depending on the game you're playing, but they really understand the medium really well. And drawing that attention to them will allow those individuals and those studios to kind of build up capital and grow. So I think keeping an eye on games that perform well with less, it's, to me, it's like, would you prefer the fancy, the fucking fancy dragon shaped knife that you can buy at the mall, and it's made of like subpar metals and not sharp, or would you rather have a K-bar? It's straight piece of metal, clean cut, good steel, always sharp, always good. You know, it's a situation like that. Would I rather be distracted by, I'm never going to use this silly ass thing, and this thing always works. So,
The knife.
the knife, yeah, the knife hand. But yeah, I think that is a trend that I really like and I can really get behind, because I just see games like that, like I said, like Crow Country, taking away all those bells and whistles forces the designer to focus on the aspects of the game that I feel really matter, which is that gameplay, which is that storytelling. And it just goes to show that kind of, even to jump over to what we were saying before about these studios overinflating, it demonstrates that that is not what this medium is about. This medium isn't about overinflated budgets. It's not about fucking excessive, ridiculous UIs, and it's not about high end graphical fidelity and being able to see everybody's pores. That is incredibly reductionist uh, outlook, which it's sad to see that people that were pioneers in the industry to begin with, because there was a time where you would see EA, you would see Ubisoft, you would see them on a game and it was a mark of quality. You knew they were going to put out something that you were going to enjoy. I still, even as a kid, because I was a kid when I'm playing on PlayStation, playing on PS2, then I would see those and I didn't know what was what, but I knew if I saw that fucking little Ubisoft swirl, I knew I was gonna get it. If I saw EA, I knew I was gonna, be playing something fun. I knew it was gonna be quality. So those those are the two studios that have fallen probably furthest from grace. But I think this trend kind of, it puts a spotlight on people that are leading the industry in a good direction.
Yeah.
So
Made me think of Weird West. Honestly, Weird West is it's so much smaller, yet so many more. Well, how would I put this? Just go into the overinflation thing. I think there's like 8 people working on that game.
yeah,
Such a small studio, and yet I feel like it has got so much more life and soul to it than anything AAA coming out.
yeah,
It's like, I don't care about the reflections in the character's eyes,
no,
dog. I do not care. Like, I just
no.
don't.
It's funny. Me and Matt were just talking about that, where it's like, not, there is it's still kind of a thing, but it was like there was that time, where everybody's doing oh, look, it reflects. It's like, in real life, surfaces aren't that reflective, right? Like, not every window you walk past or every puddle you walk past is going to give you the perfect reflection of yourself. And
So
it
annoying.
kind of makes it look ridiculous, but that's part of like the engine and stuff. That's we can talk about that some other time. But the other thing that I have just kind of written down, and it's not so much a trend, it's almost kind of like a little bit of news, but it's like the Steam machine. um I For me, it's another good sign, essentially just kind of signifying the end of like the console wars. I think it's just slowly bringing all the different communities a little bit closer, a little bit closer. Um, and I mean that's always a good thing. So that's I'm excited to see kind of what that thing's capable of. Probably not going to get one, but you never know.
They say a price.
I didn't see one yet.
Not yet.
If they, I'll be super pumped if they have mouse and keyboard compatibility on those. So that would be sweet. So it's not like a straight console. So that way, because if I could run Total War and stuff, because that I love big scale army games, and it's just that shit'll have your computer sounding like a jet engine second you click start. So and I need my computer for things that aren't gaming as well. So if I can play games on it that it won't burn it up, I try not to. But those games are computer killers.
What do you think the probability of Half-Life 3 dropping on it is?
I would be genuinely shocked if they do a Half-Life 3.
At all?
I respect what they said when they
think they're
brought
working
up
on
why they didn't do it. That's it's funny. Me and Matt literally talked about this right before we got on today. We talked about that, and if they do, Valve is one of those like dudes. They have never done us wrong. So it's like
we could save this for a topic next week if we wanted.
I'm down. Yeah,
to say we could do that
because now we're way off topic, but
we could do that.
Yeah,
because that'll turn into a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
So
put a pin in it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so everybody, if we are moving on to the third and final topic of the night, so has nostalgia become too much of an economic focal point for companies? And in turn, what makes nostalgia in the industry such a beneficial / toxic trait? And I guess it is my turn to be up. So I think it is really dependent on the publisher. I think it is, and it also depends on the degree of the nostalgia. So, perfect example is like I think utilizing the feeling is okay, but utilizing the IP is usually predatory. So what I mean by that is like how I was just talking about the retro style demakes. These games they're putting out these games that give a similar feeling to games I've played before. So, using stuff like Crow Country or any of the other like Resident Evil style games. You can use that as an example where it's like they give me the same feeling, and that's what they're gunning for. They gave me the same feeling as playing an older Resident Evil game, but they're not trying to be Resident Evil. They're not trying to capitalize on Resident Evil as a whole. They are putting their own spin on it. They are trying to do something interesting. Whereas, as much as I do like the remakes that have come out to an extent, but within that same bundle of games, I got burned where it's like they used the nostalgia of Resident Evil 1 and 2 to get me in, and they earned that money, and then they smacked me in the mouth with the Resident Evil 3 remake. So that's where the nostalgia becomes predatory. They in that one, and in that instance, it's even worse because they built me up. They built me up with these two titles that made me believe they were going to continue to honor the legacy of those games, then dropped that sack of hot dog ass just right on my lap. And so it was like, so you could literally see them actively toying with the nostalgia to actual work payload. They're like, how much nostalgia can I put in compared to how much work? It's like, if there's a bunch of nostalgia, I don't have to do as much work because they'll be busy going, oh, look at that thing. Oh, look at that thing. Oh, look at that thing. So that was one of those instances where I feel like I could see in real time where they were trying to balance that out and use that against me. But I think utilizing those feelings, and to an extent, some of it is kind of hard to avoid. and then it depends on how you're kind of really defining the nostalgia, but it's like stuff like Celeste gives me, and that put its own spin on it, but it's like it made me think of Super Meat Boy when I played it. It's I think they knew that because of the level of challenge that you find in that game. It wasn't just a regular platformer. It was just deliberately made to be a difficult, challenging platformer. And that played on emotions from those games. I feel like JRPGs, I feel like that is a genre that almost kind of, if you're a kid that grew up playing them, that one kind of just inherently has that nostalgic feeling to it. I feel like as much as that genre has evolved, it's in the heart of it has kind of remained the same to an extent. Um, so I don't think it is like an inherently bad thing. I think it's just something that we have to keep an eye on because of its potential to kind of be used in a predatory fashion. But in obviously that kind of just segues right over to that is the toxic trait of it, is it being used to essentially monetize your happy memories, which is a pretty fucked up thing in itself. um they're it's they these studios hire psychologists, for the like the bigger ones, literally to kind of pick the human brain and figure out how they can best activate your almonds and get you to engage and purchase their products. So um, that's not a tinfoil hat thing. It happens. So with smaller studios, no, obviously not. But for larger studios, by all means, you can know that there is some deliberate form of manipulation happening there. So make no mistake on that. But beneficially, um, I think it gives developers a blueprint. You know, there's a lot of creative people out there. I think all three of us, to an extent, are creatives in our own right, and it's just sometimes you hit a roadblock. Sometimes you hit walls where it's like, where do I go from here? And you being able to look back on older titles and use those titles gives you kind of a way forward that, if you do it right, can not only elevate your game but pay homage to those games that came before in a way that is respectful to both of those games and the fans. So, yep, but that's it for me. Uh, Coin flip. Who wants to go? And Brandon.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting with the preying on your nostalgia kind of idea, because when I was a kid playing these games, I couldn't help but it was always in the pit of my stomach of thinking of the future. Wow, what games are going to turn into in 10 years? I'm not even going to be able to believe it. And at its core, that's why remakes and remasters, I think, aren't that. You go into it with all that excitement, but that is the part that's missing, is that you're going back and you're reminiscing on the past, opposed to when you were a kid, you were looking to the future. At least for me, I should say. Um, Plus, you have like Unreal Engine right now, where everybody's like, throw it on Unreal Engine, throw it on there. And it's like, yes, those rocks are going to look super real. Yes, the sand is going to look incredible, but you're losing the essence of whether it's that engine, that art style, like the Halo new Halo trailer. I guess a lot of people are not digging the art style, like at all. That you're losing something. Like, and I think of, I'll always bring it back to Destroy All Humans somehow. I don't know how I keep doing this, but
It's impressive.
it is. The art style of how those characters are designed in the remake, I don't really like it. They look very, very goofy compared to how they did in the original. And also in the remake, even though by every metric, it plays better, runs smoother, blah blah blah. They took like the ragdoll physics out of it, which was the core part of what made that game so fun when I was a kid. So there's always a caveat. There's always something you're losing that kind of goes back to our AI talk, where a lot of times, man, the flaws are what give it its soul. It's that, and like we're hitting a point where things are almost perfect. Like they're so like we know it works. Put that in. That works. Tried and true.
Yeah.
Don't have
Well,
to
look
question
at
no more.
they're making entire cookie cutter essentially. Not to say that it's easy, but it's
Yeah.
you know there was it was very rare before you would find uh, such small studios or even single man studios. Now there's essentially entire game making kits that it is cookie cutter because it is so it's
Hmm.
like it works. So they literally just put it out. It's like, hey, if you
Right.
want to make a game, it will work.
Right. It will work. And that's what's kind of being lost is your game feels like his game, who feels like his game, who feels like his game. Whereas it's just like I, that that part. Yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling totally about remakes because I mean, don't get me wrong, like the Resident Evil 2 remake though, that's an incredible example. But I had also wrote down Resident Evil 3 for exactly what you said, and then I think of other examples like the remaster of Symphony of the Night. You guys redid the dialogue in the beginning. Why would you ever do that? Some of the most iconic dialogue ever, and now something is lost. But technically, it's better, is it? Like I don't. And then another example I had was Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy, and then the Gears of War remake that just came to PlayStation. Gears of War, by all metrics, technically looks better. It's cleaner, frame rate's better. But you go back and look at, I think this was a clip that was going around, and they're showing like an exact scene side by side, and it's like Marcus walking through a forest when it's raining. In the 360 version, because it was a little, it sounds weird, but like because it was blurrier and darker, it just, the atmosphere was so thick. Whereas you look at the remaster and everything is so crispy clean that it's like, you've lost the entire atmosphere of that scene. Same thing with Mass Effect. They changed the skybox color for the intro. I'm not a Mass Effect person, but I know that a lot of people were like, it sounds silly, but you're changing the whole vibe of the area and what that scene meant, where it's like, instead of it being like this blood red sunset, and you're running into what are they, the Reapers or the Reavers, or what are they called?
Yeah, Reavers.
Um, now it's like this bright sunny day. Changes the whole tone completely and entirely. There's and I get it, like, if you're an artist and you're going back and you're like, oh, I want to just make things a little better. It's just at that point, it goes into the whole like, once you've made it, it's ours at that point. And now you're changing things, and it 9 times out of 10 blows up in your face, and people don't like the changes you made because it's already become iconic to them.
And I think there's kind of two sides to that. There's like specifically with what you're describing with like the Gears thing. It's one of its art direction. I think making changes like that with it being like sunny and it's like that, I think is a mistake in art direction. And it all contributes to the same thing, but it's like um when it comes to like the grittier, kind of, I don't know how you want to call it. It was made on different tools. It's like making it's like making a charcoal drawing and then doing that same drawing out of like pen. You know, the pen is gonna have cleaner lines. It's going to be smoother, but there's something to be, like let's say you're making a mountain, drawing of a mountain, those rough edges that accentuate that it is very much a rock face, you know, is the charcoal will do a better job of capturing the essence of what a mountain is, whereas a pen, you know, will do a better job of drawing a mountain.
This is why I always think of Evil Dead. This is why we love Evil Dead so much. 1 and 2 is because they are so low budget. There's a roughness to it. There's a soul to it, a ruggedness to it. I feel the individuality of it. I might have said this already, so if I repeat myself, I'm sorry, but it's just, it's just back then. they didn't have it figured out. So you're getting like, oh, let's try it. And maybe half the idea worked, half the idea didn't. And even though technically, excuse me, even though technically half that idea didn't work, those quirks kind of become a part of the memory and the nostalgia. So that way, when you guys go back and remaster it, oh, that doesn't work no more, get rid of it. But that's part of the soul of it. Now you just feel like everything else, and now it's a it's a stab in the heart when I go back to get nostalgia and you took out everything that made it nostalgic. So it's like, dang, we're running in place here.
It's one of those some things maybe better as memories type of things. Not that they're bad, but it's like
Yeah,
they're in their original state is how they were always meant to be consumed.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's all I've got on that.
I will go now. This one I've been thinking about for a while, because it's always back and forth for me. A lot of the negatives you guys brought up, of course. I did focus mainly on remasters and remakes, because that's usually what we see in the gaming industry right now. But I'm very torn because we're all victims of nostalgia on both a positive and negative route. Look at even today, we were looking at that Godzilla integrated
Oh yeah,
thing.
battle.
We
battle
love
something.
Yeah, some mobile game. We love Godzilla. We want to see more of it, and they know that we want to see more of it. But do we want to see it in this form? And some people will look into it enough where they're like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to fund this. And others will just blindly go into it and maybe like it, maybe not. Will it tarnish the view or the brand? Who knows? But I'm so mixed on it because I do enjoy going back and reliving some of these memories that I cherish. And these companies know exactly that we want that, especially nowadays with how negative everything is. They can use that as fuel for their pockets, and it sucks. But then on the other hand, people with kids are living it up because you, as a parent that likes dinosaurs, for example, like you want to show your kids Jurassic Park, and you're going to show them. Right, which version are you going to show them? Are you going to show them the original that you might not be able to get your hands on, or are you going to show them like a remastered version, and it might not be the best, but it's the one that you have access to? Is your kid going to enjoy it to the same degree that you did because of that? It's hard to say, but
Yeah, like showing Jurassic Park on VHS opposed to Blu-ray kind of thing.
right.
Yeah.
Did the VHS version add something to it for you?
Right.
And will the joy of the newer version that might be cleaned up, things might be cut out to make it better, bring the same joy to your child? It's on their own experience, so it's not like you're trying to dictate how they view or enjoy something, but you're sharing something with your kid that you enjoyed and you want them to enjoy too. So,
Dude, I put Fellowship of the Ring on for my 2-year-old yesterday. Starting him young. I'm like, that's Frodo, that's Gandalf, that's the Dark Lord Sauron. Predecessor of Morgoth. Look, it's a whole thing, son.
but with you go ahead.
I was gonna say it's one of those things where it's almost like a bittersweet landscape right now, just because how we're talking. It's like they are straight up monetizing your nostalgia, and being someone who's aware in the way that we're aware of just how that these aren't these things aren't happenstance. They're deliberate actions. They're deliberate, targeting of that nostalgia. It's one of those things where it sucks because it's like I want to expose my kid to this, but at the same time, it's like there's that part of me that's like, do I? At what point do I let my kid know that there's a bunch of fucking nefarious suits somewhere that is genuinely preying off of the fact that they like this thing?
Consumerism.
It's like obviously not when they're a kid. I'm not that person that's going to indoctrinate their kid into some, into knowing things children don't need to know. But it's like it's one of those things where it's like it is even more upsetting to me knowing that it's like, shit, you motherfucker, you're out here targeting my child realistically. Like, I'm trying to share a memory, and the company's really just a dollar sign. And obviously it's a capitalist world, but everybody's trying to make a dollar. But, it seems like we've talked about many times. There was a point where it was passion. It was they were doing it because they cared and they liked these things, and they just they just so happen to bring in people because of the quality of the product, as opposed to, like I said, them. Now, to me at least, it feels like everybody's trying to find that balance. How much nostalgia can I inject, to a quality ratio? Do I put in a bunch of nostalgia and then drop the quality, or because it does, honestly, that's really all it seems like at this point. To be honest, it seems like it's a one-way scale. They try to inject a lot of nostalgia to make up for a lack of quality, as opposed to either quality without trying to prey on my nostalgia, or doing justice to, when it comes to at least directly affiliated IPs and stuff like that. So it is like a weird bittersweet moment as a parent where you're like, fuck, I gotta make sure my kid doesn't fall victim to the consumer mindset.
And then the other part of the question, what makes nostalgia in the industry such a beneficial or toxic trait? I was going down the remaster remake route in both positive and negative ways. Positive, it's an easy, safe way for these companies to make some easy revenue. It's potentially a way to fuel future products. So using nostalgia as that fuel for like easy game development, like, you got me. Like, if this money's gonna go to Devil May Cry, what are we on? 6?
Yeah.
If you're remastering something from your old catalog, knowing that it's gonna help make their next game, like, I can't say no to that.
That's an extremely good point, because when the Devil May Cry 1 or 3 remake come out, I'm going to be on that so heavy. So heavy. I mean, even the Dead Space remake, it's extremely high quality. Like, I'm, I don't think it's all bad by any stretch. I think they just, yeah. There's definitely
that aspect is the good part that I could justify in my brain, where using nostalgia is beneficial. And to Adrian's point, it's a way for maybe some newer devs to dig into some old games and learn mechanics, code, flow, for them to then make their own, potentially, or work with a team to make a new game for the company that they work for. So
just overall game theory, that we talked about this literally last episode, is that a lot of those older games they were the building blocks on which modern gaming theory is. Like, back then they didn't have, like, right now we literally have books. I have a couple game design books here, literally breaking down the concepts of game design, and those games are the games that established that. They were the trailblazers. They were the ones. So seeing people, they're essentially living resources, those games, or, for lack of a better term, they are existing interactive playable resources that can be studied and replicated, and if done right, they can live on for a new age to really appreciate. Yeah, it sucks because it's one of those topics where it's like I don't want to sound morbid. By all means, I love the things I love. That's once again why I'm here, why I enjoy doing this with you guys, because I love it. But yeah, I try not to get hung up too much on the nefariousness potential, but yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with utilizing nostalgia as long as you are being respectful to it.
There's also, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say one more positive point that I think people don't talk about is some of these great titles are locked to machines that you can't get anymore, can't use anymore. So using this nostalgia to remake these games gets it on a modern system that might spark someone to enjoy the series more. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it like they'll remaster something like Prototype, and now that's turning into a Prototype remake, which may hopefully turn into a Prototype 3.
Right.
Might possibly be too many steps. Just make Prototype 3, but there's something to be said about that. Like, I get it, you want to test the waters, but
that low effort, cheaper remaster out there gives you almost direct profit to maybe fuel that next game.
Right. Yeah. So it's
they need it for a proof of concept, Brandon. They need a proof of concept because this is going to be a $500 million game, you see. So I need to know that this is what the people want.
Quadruple A.
Quadruple A.
Prototype
as long as
quadruple A game is crazy.
If Prototype 3 lets me utilize somebody's grandmother as like nunchucks, then I'm sold. You got me.
I'd like to see that, honestly.
That'd be nuts. Pick her old ass up, chuck her at a helicopter.
You just crush two grandmas and then attach them together with an oxygen tube.
Oh my gosh.
That game was just pure chaos, dude. Grabbing a person, they're all ragdolling as you're running up the side of the building.
I'm pretty excited for it. I never played Prototype, so I'm like, this is just the kind of game I miss the Hulk Ultimate Destruction, Infamous, like put me in a sandbox and go crazy.
I never played Infamous. I watch people play Infamous.
You've never played any of them?
I didn't have a PlayStation until the PS4.
Infamous is good.
But yeah, I think Prototype is, in my opinion, just like the best of all the worlds. It is absolutely absurd. I loved Hulk Ultimate Destruction, and Prototype is it lets you feel that, especially when you start getting like the upgrades that essentially, you're making like a shockwave as you run. So you're just running and barreling down the road and just blowing everything out of your way. It's fucking great at any point in time, and then just like the smoothness of the movements is stuff that I hadn't seen. So like if you're running and you run over a car and pick the grab button to grab the car, he'll like do a handstand and then flip into running with the car.
The animation's so good.
Yeah, they're super good. Like actively, like he doesn't just barrel over things. He will like actually vault them. So you'll see him, jump slightly to jump on top of the car and then just keep running.
Just like Olympic sprinting down highways and just barreling through people. It's good.
So cool.
Various toxic things that we already talked about: consumerism, CEOs filling their pockets. Something more local to us would be just like the gaming community complaining about you only do remakes, or the remakes being super garbage, like just broken. Like this game's been out for years. How is it broken? It's like you could fit it on a flash drive, bro. And then one last thing I just want to bring up. We even see it with pre-order bonuses. The nostalgia bait where like the Resident Evil 9, you can get the Lady D outfit as a pre-order bonus. I'm like, okay, you got me. I was gonna play it anyway, so I'm not pre-ordering it for that. It's a plus. But
is it the outfit for the character you play as?
Yeah.
No, you're just Lady D. You're just 9 foot tall now.
Don't tease me.
Don't tease me.
Dommy mommy. So you're running around Lady D outfit. That's weird.
There's like the hat and the white dress and the paler skin. So it's just one of those Capcom things where it doesn't make sense for the world, but like you'll pre-order it though to get it because you're gross.
Yeah.
These bastards aren't even letting the game get old before they pick on the nostalgia.
No.
So interesting. Nothing wrong with it by any stretch. I don't know why that stuff just does not. I just don't care about skins. Like in almost anything. Like I very rarely ever change the skin on my character. I don't know why.
I'm 50-50 on it. It depends on what they're putting in the game. If it breaks the immersion to a certain extent, I won't do it. But I usually do it on a subsequent playthrough, or if it's just like a color swap where I like these colors more than the default one, I'll throw it on there. But other things are like background music. Like if it's a background music from a different game that you really love, they'll get you there. Naughty Dog did a weird thing where they put in a jacket from a game that they're making that's not out in a game that they remade for the second or third time, which is like nostalgia in both directions, I guess. I guess. So.
Yeah, they're
the psychologists are fucking hard at work trying to figure out how to get that money out of you. They're like, listen, hold on, I got an idea here.
I think Naughty Dog in their remaster situation is kind of funny. It would have been just like a lot better if they just remade one recently. Like just do the remake of one, because I totally understand, like, because I played the remake of one and it like it's awesome. Like I'm not gonna like it looks incredible. It looks like Last of Us 2, so I totally understand, even though it doesn't technically need it, with what Naughty Dog is going for, trying to make it, this movie-esque game. I totally understand why you guys did that. Update the faces, get it all one consistent look. Doing it 3 times is a little extreme. You could have just done it like when season 2 comes out. Hey, also we're remaking 1 in a complete package. I also wonder how much of that though is Sony. I get the sense that it's Sony breathing down their throats, just re-release it.
I think it's a mixture. I think it's a mixture of that and maybe Sony knowing that their next game is taking this amount of time, and like you can recoup some money if you just remake this. Have a couple people, have a smaller team do this, which it plays into this, the whole low effort, cheaper thing to just get some extra money. But it's still like, people love this franchise, and it's going to prey right on their heartstrings.
And there's nothing wrong with being economical either. It's like, it's low effort, but it's like, I can't blame you for it. Like, as long as you do it well, it's like, that's fine. But it all makes sense.
There's also a level of just like, even if it is going to take them a long time, dog, you got to let people miss you.
Yeah.
You got to let people miss. You cannot, like, at this, like, me and Vaughn are huge Last of Us fans, and even we're like, dude, like, they hate you. You got to shut up for a minute. Like, you have to leave the room and quit talking for a second, please. Like,
let me breathe. Like, if you didn't have an HBO series coming out, it might not have been as bad. But even then, they play into each other where, like
I'm going to be a dad.
That was a guttural sigh for that line and just the overwhelming feeling of like them running this series into the ground and me being exhausted from it. Like, you'll never stop me from loving the series. Like, it hit me in a way that very few things did, but on the surface I can be like, you guys are just pump the brakes.
Yeah, you have to. You got to chill out. You got to be missed. You have to be missed. That's why From Software's stuff hits every single time. They will literally just annoyingly not say anything. Like,
Well,
all right, are you going to say something? No. E3? Or not E3, but like Game Awards? No. Tokyo Game Show? No. When? A random Tuesday.
Which is shocking because Bandai Namco is really about like pushing stuff.
Yeah.
So
you got to keep the mystique. You got to.
Well, that's and that's all I can think of when people say you gotta, let them miss you. And I guess I'm somehow in the minority camp on this. I've been saying it for years. People clamoring for this Bloodborne remake. I just don't know what else they're really looking for. Like, maybe I got to replay it, but it's like people have been asking.
It's because it runs at 30 frames. That's like the main thing. It runs at 30, if not lower. That's kind of the core thing. And the Demon Souls remake looked beautiful, so people are like, oh, what if?
And I need a reason to live.
That's that too. It's funny, not to go on a whole tangent, I promise, but I kind of feel that way about a Bloodborne 2. I don't really think we need a Bloodborne 2.
I don't think we're supposed to have a Bloodborne 2. I feel like
Yeah.
Bloodborne, like the
It's
concept,
enhanced.
like the story of Bloodborne is I don't
Complete. It's maybe one of the most complete, like, conceptually realized games I can think of.
But the logo is perfect for a 2. The D and the B, you could have the 2. Come on.
Yeah. No,
For
you're
that
not
alone.
wrong. Bloodborne kind of falls into the same camp to me as BioShock Infinite, where it's like, are you really going to do a BioShock 3? Like, it's done. Once the cat's out of the bag of like what's going on, you'll never recapture that surprise again. Like, oh, it's werewolves and vampires and witches. Just kidding. It's Cthulhu. It's the same thing with Infinite, where it's like, oh, a city in the sky. This is weirdly like a city in the ocean. Yeah, it's because it's infinite timelines and you're just reliving the same thing in a loop. Like, okay, well, where do we go from here? It's out. I mean, it's done now.
They're real good about evolving their gameplay, though. So, like, maybe
I have no question the gameplay would be sick.
they just need to make the Frankenstein game that I talked about in the Halloween episode. Go check it out.
It's some good stuff.
Codename Frankenstein. Victor. That movie was good, man. A lot of people hating on it. I thought it was really good, personally.
The Van Helsing movie?
No. The new Frankenstein. The Guillermo del Toro one.
Oh.
I haven't read.
Is that you said that's on Netflix, right?
Yeah. Deserved to be in theaters.
Maybe I will watch that instead of playing Unicorn Overlord.
Dude, he is dogging people. Like, whoa, dogging people. Check it out.
That's all I had. It was I'm a victim of it, but I have adult money, so screw it.
Mm-hmm. If I had a little more adult money to act a fool with, I can assure you I would be much more ashamed of myself.
That's fair. Cool.
So, all right.
We did it.
That has been case number 5, gents, of the Redacted Roundtable. I have been Adrian, your host for this evening's broadcast. Vaughn, Brandyn, gentlemen, I bid you adieu.
Adieu.
Y'all be safe now.
You hear?